A person's demeanor often carries the weight of their history. Those who have endured heartbreak, betrayal, or trauma may develop a stoic exterior to protect their inner world. What appears as emotional distance is sometimes a shield built out of survival. To the casual observer, this might look like indifference, but to those who have walked through fire, it is a testament to resilience. Life has a way of testing the human spirit, of pushing people beyond what they thought they could endure. And in those moments of struggle, pain, and disillusionment, many discover the strength to construct a wall of quiet dignity, not to shut the world out entirely, but to preserve what remains of their spirit until it is safe to open again. When we look at the human journey, we see countless examples of people who have worn this mask of stoicism. Not because they wanted to be detached, but because life demanded it. Think of those who have faced injustice, systemic oppression, or deep personal losses. They often present themselves with calm restraint, not because they feel nothing, but because they have felt too much. Their silence is not weakness. It is wisdom earned through pain. The truth is, behind every composed face, there may be chapters of untold suffering, lessons written in tears and battles fought in silence. It is easy to misinterpret such composure as coldness, but in reality, it is the body's natural armor against a world that has already wounded them once too deeply. One powerful example of this truth can be found in the life of Albert Lutuli, the first African to win the Nobel Peace Prize, a man who lived through the brutal realities of apartheid. Lutuli carried himself with a calm, dignified demeanor. Yet behind that quiet strength lay the weight of generations of oppression. The pain of seeing his people systematically stripped of their dignity, and the heartbreak of knowing that freedom was a distant dream. To many, his composure might have appeared as passive acceptance, but in truth, it was the armor of resilience. The shield of a man who knew that to lead his people, he must master his own emotions, channel his pain into purpose, and refuse to be broken by the cruelty surrounding him. Albert Lutuli understood that when the world refuses to acknowledge your humanity, the most powerful weapon you can wield is your unwavering dignity. He led not with fury, but with steadfast calm. This did not mean he lacked passion or fire. It meant he had learned to control the flames, so they would not consume him or his cause. He embodied the lesson that suffering can refine the soul, and that dignity is not about ignoring pain, but about rising above it. His stoic demeanor was not a mask to hide weakness, but a deliberate choice to lead with integrity when anger and bitterness might have been easier paths. We, too, can learn from this. Life is not always fair. Betrayals will cut deep, losses will leave scars, and injustice may weigh heavily on our shoulders. But in those moments, we have a choice. We can allow bitterness to define us, or we can let the trials shape us into individuals of strength and quiet power. A stoic exterior is not a denial of emotions. It is a declaration that we will not be ruled by them. It is the strength to say, I have been hurt, but I am not broken. I have been tested, but I will endure. I have been scarred, but I will still rise. Too often, society mistakes calm composure for detachment. When someone does not express their pain outwardly, others assume they do not feel deeply. But nothing could be further from the truth. Some of the most compassionate leaders, the most empathetic souls, are those who appear stoic on the outside. Because they have lived through storms within, they know the taste of sorrow, and therefore understand the importance of preserving peace. They have carried burdens silently, and so they recognize the weight others bear. Their silence is not emptiness, it. Their calm is not indifference, it is mastery. Their dignity is not naivety, it is strength, earned from battles invisible to the eye. Albert Lutuli's story resonates here. Despite relentless persecution, despite being banned and silenced, despite the isolation forced upon him by the apartheid regime, he did not lash out in hatred. He bore the injustices with dignity and courage, understanding that the path to true freedom could not be built on vengeance, but on justice and unity. His demeanor was shaped by history, but he refused to let pain harden him into bitter. Instead, he used it to fuel his vision of a South Africa where dignity would be restored to all people. This is the power of a stoic spirit. He transforms suffering into purpose and creates strength where others see only silence. For anyone who has ever been misunderstood for their quietness, their calm, or their composure, let Lutuli's life be a reminder. Your demeanor may be your shield, but it is also your strength. it does not mean you feel less. It means you have learned to endure more. What appears to be emotional distance is often emotional discipline. It is the knowledge that storms will pass, and that dignity must remain even when everything else is stripped away. It is the ability to protect your inner world until the time is right to open it again. That is not weakness, is wisdom. And let us not forget, the history we carry does not define us solely by our pain. It also defines us by our endurance, by the way we choose to respond to adversity, and by the quiet strength we develop along the way. Every scar is a testament not only to what wounded us, but to the fact that we survived. Every stoic glance, every calm silence is not just a wall, but a monument to the battles we have fought and won. Just as Lutuli's calm dignity inspired his people to believe in the possibility of justice, our own resilience can inspire those around us to keep going, to keep believing, and to keep fighting for what matters. When people misunderstand your composure, remember this: their judgment cannot diminish the truth of your journey. The walls you have built are not signs of weakness, but fortresses of strength. And one day, when you choose to lower those walls, you will reveal not emptiness, but a soul that has endured storms and emerged stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. That is the gift of suffering. It refines us, reshapes us, and gives us the power to inspire others, just as Albert Lutuli inspired his nation and the world. When we speak of the human journey, we often glorify triumphs, victories, and moments of success. But hidden behind every achievement is a long history of silence, endurance, and resilience. The truth is, no one walks through life without scars. These scars, whether visible or invisible, shape the way we carry ourselves. For some, the weight of betrayal, heartbreak, or oppression creates a surface that appears unshakable. It is not that these individuals have not felt pain. On the contrary, they have often felt it more deeply than others. It is because of this depth of feeling that they have learned to protect their hearts with a shield of calmness, discipline, and dignity. This is not emotional. Coldness is emotional strength, refined by fire. Albert Lutuli stands as a towering example of this truth. Imagine living in a society where every system is built against you, where your skin color is used as justification to strip you of rights, dignity, and even the freedom to dream. Under apartheid in South Africa, this was the daily reality. Most people would expect anger, rage, and vengeance to rise in such conditions. Yet Lutuli chose a different path. His demeanor was calm, his leadership steady, his voice strong but never consumed by hatred. Behind that calmness lay decades of struggle, personal sacrifice, and the heartbreak of watching his people suffer under relentless injustice. He embodied the lesson that true strength does not always roar it, often stands quietly, unshaken, refusing to bow to oppression. This quiet resilience is what so many people fail to understand. The world often teaches us to equate loudness with power and emotional outbursts with authenticity. But in reality, some of the greatest strength lies in the ability to stay composed when everything around you is falling apart. That composure is not a denial of pain. It is a declaration of mastery. It is saying to the world, I will not let your cruelty dictate who I become. Lutuli understood that the fight for freedom required not just resistance, but patience, strategy, and above all, dignity. His stoicism was not passivity, it was power-controlled, focused, and directed toward a higher vision. Consider for a moment what it means to lead with such calm in the face of constant adversity. Lutuli faced bans from political activity, surveillance, harassment, and the pain of isolation. Yet, even when silenced, his very presence was a symbol of hope. His stoic demeanor told his people that their suffering would not last forever, that dignity could be preserved even when stripped of rights, and that silence could sometimes speak louder than words. He became the embodiment of resilience, showing the world that endurance itself is a form of resistance. This lesson extends far beyond politics and history. In our own lives, we face betrayals, disappointments, and traumas that could easily break us. We may lose loved ones, be betrayed by friends, or suffer injustices at work or in relationships. These wounds leave marks on the soul. And yet, like Lutuli, we can choose how we respond. We can let bitterness consume us, or we can build a demeanor of calm strength. By doing so, we are not denying our pain, we are transcending it. We are saying, yes, I have been hurt, but I refuse to let that pain define me. This is the essence of a Stoic exterior. Not emptiness, but strength preserved for the right time and place. Think about the power of such composure in your personal life. When someone wrongs you, the easy response is anger or retaliation. But if you hold your dignity, if you remain calm, you not only disarm the other person, you also protect your own spirit. You refuse to give them the power to dictate your emotions. This does not mean you accept injustice. It means you face it strategically without letting it poison your heart. In this way, composure becomes your shield and dignity becomes your sword. Albert Lutuli's leadership showed exactly this balance. He did not shy away from confronting injustice, but he did so without hatred. He refused to let his enemies define his character. Instead, he leaned on principles of peace, justice, and perseverance. When he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1960, it was not only a recognition of his political work, but also of the moral force he carried through his calm, dignified demeanor. He proved that, even in the darkest systems of oppression, the human spirit could shine with unbreakable light. There is another lesson here. Those who seem emotionally distant may, in fact, be carrying the deepest love. Lutuli's Stoicism was born from love for his people, love for justice, love for a vision of a better future. His calmness was not a lack of emotion, but the very opposite was the weight of immense care that had to be carried wisely. This is a truth we often overlook. Sometimes, the people who appear strongest, who speak the least about their pain, are the ones who love most fiercely. Their silence is not because they don't feel, but because they feel too much. And they know that careless expression could weaken the cause they hold dear. You see, life is not about avoiding pain. It's about deciding what to do with it. Everyone experiences betrayal. Everyone experiences loss. Everyone experiences moments that shake the very foundation of their existence. What separates those who break from those who rise is not the absence of suffering, but the presence of resilience. Albert Lutuli's life is proof of this. He did not escape suffering, he endured it. He did not run from injustice, he faced it. And he did not let heartbreak turn into hatred, he transformed it into hope. That is the legacy of a Stoic spirit. And that is the legacy each of us can embrace in our own lives.
In your own journey, you may feel misunderstood because of your calm exterior. People may assume you are distant, detached, or indifferent. But know this. The very shield you wear is evidence of your battles, your scars, and your endurance. It is not something to be ashamed of. It is something to honor. You are not cold. You are not unfeeling. You are strong in a way that many cannot comprehend. Your silence is not emptiness. It is discipline. Your calmness is not weakness. It is power. And your stoicism is not indifference. It is wisdom earned through fire. Let us then carry this lesson forward. When you face the next storm in your life, remember Albert Lutuli. Remember that strength does not always shout. Sometimes it stands silently, unshaken, with eyes fixed on the horizon of a better tomorrow. Remember that your demeanor, shaped by your history, is not a mask to hide behind, but a shield to protect your spirit until it is safe to open again. And most of all, remember that dignity in the face of suffering is not just survival, it is victory. There comes a moment in every person's life when they must decide how they will carry the weight of their past. Will they let the heartbreak, betrayal, and trauma harden them into bitterness? Or will they forge those experiences into a shield of strength? That choice is what determines not only the quality of our own lives, but the impact we leave on others. The truth is, the strongest people are rarely those who show constant smiles and boundless energy. Often, they are the quiet ones, the composed ones, the ones whose eyes reveal a depth of history that words could never capture. Their demeanor may appear distant, but in reality, it is their survival, their dignity, and their unshakable will wrapped in silence. Albert Lutuli embodied this choice with extraordinary clarity. As a leader in one of history's most brutal systems of oppression, he could have easily let hatred consume him. No one would have blamed him for responding with fury. Yet he chose the harder path, the path of restraint, patience, and quiet resilience. His composure under pressure, his calm in the face of systemic cruelty, was not the absence of passion, but the mastery of it. He had seen the suffering of his people. He had felt the sting of injustice in his own life, and he carried all of that weight with a demeanor that inspired hope rather than despair. He chose to be a shield for others, a figure of strength who could stand firm when so many felt beaten down. Think for a moment about what it means to endure with such composure. It is not about denying pain. It is about transforming pain into purpose. Lutuli's Stoic presence communicated something powerful, that dignity cannot be taken away unless we surrender it. Even when stripped of political freedom, even when silenced by bans, even when vilified by those in power, he held on to his inner freedom. He showed his people that while systems of injustice may control your circumstances, they cannot control your spirit unless you let them. And that is a lesson each of us must remember in our own struggles. No matter what we face, loss, betrayal, rejection, or injustice, we have the power to guard our dignity and remain unbroken inside. The Stoic spirit, then, is not about being emotionless. It is about carrying emotions wisely. It is about knowing that explosions of anger may win a moment, but composure wins the future. Lutuli's life demonstrates that endurance, patience, and discipline can accomplish what rage cannot. His demeanor may have seemed reserved, but beneath it lay a fire that was carefully directed toward justice, not wasted on retaliation. That is the true strength of a Stoic exterior. It conserves energy for what truly matters. In our modern lives, the battles may not look like apartheid, but they are still real. They may take the form of a toxic relationship, a betrayal by a friend, a workplace filled with injustice, or the crushing weight of personal loss. Each of these moments tests us, tempting us to lash out, to lose control, or to become consumed by bitterness. But if we can channel the spirit of Albert Lutuli, if we can hold our dignity even when it is hardest, then we transform our suffering into something greater. We become examples of resilience for others, just as he was for his people. Our calmness becomes a message. I will not be broken by what has tried to destroy me. Consider also the impact this has on those who watch us. When you maintain composure under pressure, you inspire others to do the same. Your children, your friends, your colleagues, they all see in your demeanor a kind of strength that words alone cannot teach. Just as Lutuli's calm dignity inspired generations to believe in the possibility of a free South Africa, your resilience can inspire those around you to hold on, to keep going, and to never give up hope. Your Stoicism is not only for you, it is a beacon for others. Albert Lutuli's Nobel Peace Prize was not just a recognition of his political leadership. It was a recognition of his moral authority, the power of his character, and the dignity he carried, even when silenced. He proved that true leadership is not about domination or force. It is about integrity, patience, and quiet courage. He showed the world that a Stoic exterior, far from being a weakness, is one of the greatest strengths a person can possess. His life reminds us that enduring suffering with dignity is not passive acceptance. It is active resistance, and it has the power to change history. So, what does this mean for you? It means that the next time life hands you heartbreak, you have a choice. You can allow it to harden you into bitterness, or you can let it strengthen you into resilience. You can respond to betrayal with anger, or you can respond with calm dignity, knowing that composure protects your spirit. You can let trauma define you, or you can use it as the foundation of your unshakable strength. Like Lutuli, you can transform pain into purpose, suffering into wisdom, and silence into power. The world does not always recognize this kind of strength. People may misjudge your calmness as indifference. They may mistake your silence for weakness. But remember, the judgment of others does not define your truth. The walls you build around your heart are not barriers of emptiness. They are fortresses built from battles survived. And when the time comes to let others in, they will see not a hollow soul, but one that has endured, grown, and emerged stronger than ever. This is the gift of a Stoic spirit, It allows you to walk through storms without being consumed, to face injustice without losing your dignity, and to carry your history without being crushed by it. Albert Lutuli carried that gift not only for himself but for his people, and by extension, for the world. His story teaches us that true strength is not loud, not boastful, not vengeful. It is steady, calm, and unbreakable. It is the strength of a person who has endured heartbreak, betrayal, and trauma, yet still chooses to stand tall with dignity intact. Let his example guide you. When life tests you, remember that calmness is not weakness but control. Silence is not emptiness but depth. Dignity is not passivity but power. Just as Lutuli's stoic demeanor became a weapon against injustice, your own composure can become a shield against life's trials. And in that shield lies the possibility not only of surviving, but of inspiring others to believe that they too can endure. So rise with your scars, stand with your silence, carry your history with pride, not shame. And remember, the demeanor you wear is not a mask to hide who you are. It is the crown of what you have survived. Let the world see it. Let your life declare, as Lutuli's did, that no matter the suffering, no matter the betrayal, no matter the heartbreak, dignity, and resilience will always have the final word.